United 2, Chelsea 1. Not so much a hot take as an absolutely sodden one. Just back from the game. Nick, how you doing? You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good atmosphere, was it?
It was. It was het up. It reflected what was on the pitch. It was, very symbiotic. It was very front foot, and it dawdled a bit in the second half. I think like the action did. It was very stop start, but then the fans and the players sort of joined forces to get through and get over the line in the end. Which by hook or by crook, a win is a win, but especially at the moment in those circumstances against a team that's the best in the world on paper. So happy days, or at least you got to enjoy them when they come along, haven't you, at the moment? So
Have indeed.
give us an overview. Give us your general take on how things panned out because it was madcap from the off, wasn't it?
It was. Obviously, it was one I'm glad to have missed if I'm if I'm being true. Weather looks absolutely horrendous. It's not stop belting down here either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you said. Although we've hung on in the end, um, we've come away with that important win. I think it was absolutely crucial with the way things were going. We can talk about Amarim all evening, but he needed that win. And yeah, I think strangely it followed the same kind of routine, didn't it, that we've been talking about. First 10 minutes, 15 minutes where we just go out. So there's clearly an onus there to start on the front foot. Um, and yeah, very early on we see the red card, which really is just something. If you needed something against Chelsea in a must-win game, that's going to help, of course. And yeah, superb work with all the criticism Bayern's had of late. That is, some really good contact there. The lovely length on the ball. Sesko's won the header, and Bumo's read it perfectly. Cucurella just stalls, and then the centre back comes over too late, and then Bumo's in. And I just think he reads Sesko's wonderful knockdown really well. If you remember last week, we spoke about the City game, and in the first minute, that same scenario happens, but
Yeah.
Mbumo comes inside rather than getting beyond the last line, and it just shows you just these finer details. Sometimes they're just so crucial. So, and Mbumo's read it perfectly, gets in, and yeah, Sanchez has had a Sanchez. He's got a great starting position, um, and instead of just holding that ground when he sees Mbumo, fine to drop back if he doesn't see Mbumo coming in. But when he sees Mbumo make that run off the shoulder of the defender, he then just needs to hold that position. He probably saves himself a red card and saves Chelsea with it too. So, yeah, frantic start, really hard, fast start as usual. And obviously, shortly after the red, we go 1-0 up.
Just on the subject of Reds, obviously it was one apiece. The damage was done in the scoreline terms by the time Casemiro went off. But what was your take on his dismissal? Because I know obviously you have a keen interest in refereeing.
Yeah, like anything really in terms of analysis. So had a bit of background in UEFA refereeing analysis as well. So that one's really simple. Obviously, first tackle that Casemiro makes, it is a reckless challenge. It's a caution. That's the one I'm most disappointed in, to be honest with him. Sorry, to be honest with you about Casemiro. He should know better than just to make that challenge. I know his adrenaline's up at this point. We're 1-0 to the good. There's just no need to make that first challenge. The second one, yeah, I think to be fair, a lot of the pundits, it's not been all one way. Like you hear this common trope, stupid challenge. He knows what he's doing. Brazilian international, Real Madrid. Champions League winner times five. He should know what he's doing. I just think he's done nothing wrong there. Nothing wrong at all. It's a refereeing error. I think Peter Banks is a superb referee. Um, but he's just simply got that one wrong. He's just a small touch. You wouldn't even call it a pull. It's about a second and a half as he goes around to take the ball. It's a classic Casemiro tackle. It's never been a second yellow. It's not a first yellow. It's not a reckless challenge. It's not stopping a promising attack. It's nothing. And as the old trope goes, if there's an early red in a game, yeah, certainly sometimes at Old Trafford, then there can be pressure from another team to say, "Come on, referee, let's look at that." And that's sadly what happened. Never a red card. I don't even want to kind of analyze it further, really.
Brilliant. Let's stick to the goals then, because obviously between the two cards, there was two goals. Take it away. What did you like?
Yeah, I think that, like we said earlier, we've come out on the front foot. It's been something we've come to expect. High press. It's a 5-2-3 high press. You can also talk tonight a lot about 4-4-2. Ironically, given all the talk of formations this week, there was a lot of that going on as well. Not so much for the first goal. So I'd say that was just classic 5-2-3. Dorgu pushing high, Ahmad assisting on the second trigger, and Bumo coming over and just really, boxing and cutting off that side of the pitch for Chelsea in that right channel. We win it superbly, comes over to Mbumo. Ahmad carries into the centre, finds Mazraoui, ball comes in, and the rest is history. It's a really good, a well worked goal from a really on the front foot high press.
Superb. And that's Bruno's 100th goal. He's all right, isn't he? He's not done too bad since he came.
I think, to be fair, we can sometimes overanalyze, can't we? And he's a superb player. We've talked a lot in pre-season and just after around how he fits into this position, this shape in the central midfield double pivot. For me, he's not the ideal person to play in there, and that has been shown in games, not least City and Fulham. But on his day, with the freedom that Amarim talks about trying to give him, he is an absolute. His numbers, they speak for themselves. But what we've got to understand is a game like tonight is where Bruno thrives in that chaotic kind of, rain pouring down. They're down to 10 men. He's now playing in a bit of a kind of box come diamond ahead of the back line. And that's just where Bruno comes alive. And it's not an easy goal, to be fair. I think when the ball comes across, Dorgu has gone for the back post with his header. He's tried to kind of bend it in that far post. It's probably going wide, and Bruno just reads it. Now you could say, could Sesko read it? But I think Sesko's just 5 yards too nearer to Dorgu, and Fernandez is in the perfect position. He kind of beats that. I think it was Chalobah from memory. Beats him with the run, gets his head on. It's a superb goal, and as I was saying to you off air, that I was adamant it was offside, but my little lad was telling me no, it wasn't. He'd seen the foot, and yeah, it turns out he was correct.
Superb. And then set pieces after that, wasn't it? In terms of both goals that were still to come. We've spoken before about how United have looked increasingly dangerous in those situations, and the second goal tonight for Casemiro was, you know, further proof of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It is really pleasing to see because we've known over the last 5 years or so, every time we get a corner, it's kind of head in hands. Oh God, what we're going to do now? We just don't score from corners. And although tonight, a bit like the Fulham game, it's not, yeah, it's not absolutely innovative, but it's something different. So it's come short, it's come out to Mbumo, out to Mazraoui, and then crossed comes in. I'm trying to remember the actual order of it now, but it's a short corner played a second time, and then the Mazraoui ball comes in. It's an outswinger. You could argue it's not hit his destination. It's come a bit deep and wide. Dorgu then gets the head back. My only question there is, can he find Sesko again? Sesko is primed. We saw it just 5 minutes before the second goal. We saw no about 8 or 9 minutes it was before the second goal. Dorgu has the ball on that left channel. He's got beyond again, which is a common theme at the moment. Dorgu's getting a lot of platforming. And he can find Sesko with a first time ball where Jorgensen's come wide right in this penalty area. And Sesko has more or less, not an open net, but he has an easy chance on goal. The same for Dorgu with this Mazraoui cross. Can he get his head across? It's not a too difficult a header to make across the 6 yards. Sesko's waiting with an open goal. So that's just a slight caveat to the goal itself. Instead, it comes back, the ball's cleared in the air, and we just see some, bravery from Luke Shaw, which was really pleasing to see after his not so much performance, but some of the feedback on his performance, some of the criticism of his performance last week.
Yeah.
Well,
The
yes, he didn't
reaction.
have his best game. He didn't have his best game, that's for sure, but he certainly wasn't the one at fault for all three. He had a part to play in maybe two of them, and he's just shown real willingness and commitment to win that header. Maguire's there as well, as people have pointed out, and the ball's come across. Casemiro's read it, and again, I'd like to praise Casemiro. He's headed it down. He's gone far across. Jorgensen's come across to cover the near post. It's gone back across goal, which is what you want in that scenario. So 2-0, and yeah, it looked fairly comfortable at that point, which was pleasing to see.
Yeah, and then obviously down to 10 apiece for the second half. I thought we managed it quite well, to be honest with you. Bandy had a very quiet afternoon, just a lot of the ball at his feet. But then just when you think we might actually manage a game to a calm, satisfactory conclusion, we allow Chelsea back in from a set piece. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise, should it, given the form book and everything, but break it down for us.
Yeah, I like to. I mean, in the first half, there's a lot of criticism on Maresca, who I'm still unsure of, and I still don't think he's what Chelsea fans or pundits are making him out to be. I think there's still a lot of rustiness in some of his tactical approaches, some of his substitutions. That was shown in the first 7 minutes after the red card. He's brought off Esteban and Neto, and there's two wide men essentially. And then he's gone five at the back. He's brought Tosin in, and Fofana comes and joins him. And he's gone a five, kind of like 3-1 or 5-2-2, and really sought to contain us at 1-0. Sorry, that was 0-0, but still, that's his aim, and then to kind of break centrally. So I'm a bit kind of skeptical of those decisions. Later on, around the 20th minute mark, Palmer's then brought off. He didn't seem to be injured. I don't know. I've not read any more about that. This is a very on the whistle piece, as ever. So that was a bit interesting as well. If you're going to take your two wide players off, you'd probably want Palmer on, who's a great person in possession, great person to break with. He can play across the full width of the field. He was superb from that right interior channel midweek. And I just thought bringing him off was bizarre as well. But what I will say about Maresca is when that goes down to 10, he's thinking straight away. And at half time, he's brought on Gusto and George, and he's pushed Reece James up further. And it's effectively then a 4-4-1. And I'm not sure then Amarim is like fully understanding that, because he makes a different change. He brings Ugarte on for Šeško and kind of reverts to a 5-3-1. So you've got a crossover. You've got in the first half, De Ligt has very much followed, first of all, Palmer and then Santos out. So he's playing like this auxiliary right back for all the talk of systems and 4-4-2. There was a lot of 4-4-2 on the ball as well as off the ball tonight, which was really interesting, and it's kind of paid dividends. With Maguire and Shaw coming centre back, Dorgu dropping in at left back. De Ligt going very high at times, following Santos wherever he went down that channel, and having some good opportunities on the ball. Just a shame, really, that his final ball is not expected to be, David Beckham, but sometimes his final ball is sometimes lacking in those kind of deeper zones. So I think halftime was interesting, and Maresca has pulled something out of the hat there. He's changed it, knowing that Amarim will change the other way when Casemiro's been sent off, and he's applied the width again. So taken
Yeah.
away the width in the first 7 minutes, then Cole Palmer, and then he's gone at half time. He's gone. Um, he's put Gusto on, who's instrumental in the second half, and him and Reece James just apply so much width in that right side, pulling Shaw out at times, bringing Dorgu all the way back, and that's effectively where their goal comes from. Um, I can't let it go without talking about Ugarte again, I'm afraid. When we look at that goal and where the corner comes from, again, Ugarte's a bit like a headless chicken in his off the ball position and his pressing. At times you see him in a kind of high press with Mbumo, Fernandez, Ahmad, and you think, why has he followed the DCM or central midfielder all the way up there? And for the goal, he starts there at least a minute earlier, and then he makes this diagonal all the way back into a deep left, like a left back zone in on the field. And he doesn't get to Gusto early enough. And then when the ball is turned over and it comes out wide to Reece James, he doesn't get wide enough. And then the ball comes across and then it's cut out for a corner, I think, from Shaw. And then, of course, ball in, Chalobah unmarked. I do have to look at Euro, but I have to look at later on why Euro comes on, of course. Awareness from set pieces is something Euro can look at for sure in his game. And it's 2-1, and then we've all got our kind of looking through our fingers again, aren't we?
Yeah, but I mean, it was a happy ending, at least. The apart from that one kind of lapse, I suppose, for the goal. Well, a couple of lapses in a row that led to the goal. For the most part, I think they showed a good attitude, good concentration levels, and clung on pretty well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I don't want it to turn. Sometimes in analysis, we're looking at all the details off the ball, on the ball, shapes. And although Maresca has really flipped that at half time, they've had a lot of possession and a lot of width, and George on the other side and Pedro's worked tirelessly. What I will say is they've not created very much. So for all there, I think again, it's an on the whistle piece, but my understanding is they've had over 65, 70% of the possession in that second half, but they've not created much. So that's really positive. It was backs to the wall at times. And to be honest, when we've got the ball and we kind of reverted, as I said earlier, to this kind of rotation approach. So we've got five at the back, and effectively three, and then when the wing back comes up a four, it's like a rotating kind of box or diamond at times. Then Cunha comes on, so he's at one point the highest press out of possession, and Mount and Fernandez are behind, and Ahmad's coming at wing back, but sometimes high. So you've got this box, this makeshift box, and when they get it, although it looks chaotic, there's some kind of ethos behind that, and we keep the ball really well. We're not creating much ourselves, but what we're doing is keeping Chelsea away from the penalty area, and we're keeping possession high up of the field. It wasn't coming back too much. So these are all, positive points. Credit to Amarim and the team for really seeing out that result in the way you've just said, Steve, and allowing very little. And I'll finish with giving some positivity to Bayern and Ugarte for all the critique I've personally given of late. I think Bayern makes a really good punch on about 94 minutes, where the ball's coming. They've clearly targeted him from the set piece, and you're thinking, this is it, 2-2. And he makes a fantastic punch, really good contact in super difficult conditions. And a moment just before that, actually, Ugarte gets into a really good position in the penalty in our own penalty area. They've laid it back for the shot, and he's been out there blocking it. I can't think for the life of me who that was. It might have been Pedro, but Ugarte's there pressing the ball and getting his body in the way. So apart from those two or three opportunities, they've been limited to very little. So positive night overall, even though it has gone to 10-10 and 2-1, you start to get a bit jittery. We've seen out the result, which was just so needed. Not in terms of Amarim or anything, just it's just absolutely needed at this moment in time, isn't it? And see us creep up that table, otherwise we'll just end up staying in a malaise. That's how it typically has gone in the past.
That's it. Onwards and upwards, eh?
Absolutely. Fingers crossed.
Brilliant. Nick, thank you very much.